Hello, welcome you all to our new debate called Contemporary Challenges to Brazilian Democracy, Media, Politics, and Populism. Today, we're going to have two of our professors, Dr. Alessandra Maia from the Political Science Department and Dr. Arthur Ituaçu from the Social Communications Department. So we actually reached today the last event of a series of 4. I hope you have followed the previous one. We had social inclusion in Brazil, old and new challenges was the first event that started it all. Then we had renewable, non-renewable, and sustainability was the second event. The third event was called Planning Cities in Uncertain Times. And today we're gonna have contemporary challenges to Brazilian democracy, media, politics, and populism. All the links to the previous recordings will be available to you soon. So actually, if you check on our webpage, you can see the links and you can access again the media so that you can re-watch them. And the same will be done today with this debate, and you can also be able to access as soon as we edit the video. So I would like to tell you that we will have all participants muted so that we don't have any disruptions during the event. And if you have questions, please direct them through the chat. So we are going to be filtering them and they will be asked to the speakers when they are done with the speeches. Okay, I wish you all a very good debate today, and I hope you can make the most of it. Welcome again to Brazilian Debates.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. Alessandra?
Yeah, okay. Ricardo,
Yes.
Thank you. And I would like to, first of all, thank for your audience and say that I hope that all of you are safe and well, yeah, considering this time of pandemic. I am Professor Alessandra Maia, and I will also want to thank our incredible team of CCCI, yeah, and the person, yeah, our director that leaded us, Professor Angela Paiva, that, yeah, made it possible for us to be here today. So thanks a lot for our team. I think that this debate is not an end of line, but a beginning for a lot of new debates in our university. And I will be here today to talk with you about political scene in Brazil. So you know probably that Brazil is very well known for producing political memes, yeah, and also for its messy politics. So just I will keep in mind that we have a common saying here in Brazil that says Brazil is not for the beginners. So let's keep it in mind and try to make the debate the best we can. Thank you. And now I pass the word to Ituaçu. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Alessandra. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, our international office, Central Coordination for International Cooperation at PUC-rio. Thank you very much, Professor Angela Paiva. Thank you, Ricardo Alencar, Daniel Amorim. Thank you all at CCCI. It's a great pleasure to be here. I hope I can contribute to a better understanding of Brazil outside the country. And we have a lot to talk concerning especially new media, digital media, and politics and elections in Brazil nowadays. So please, Alessandra, yes?
Okay, so now I'm going to share with you, yeah, a little, Let me just open it here. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, now it's done. Yeah. And just to begin, yeah, those are my contacts. And the idea, yeah, is that I talk with you today about the political scenario here in Brazil. And all those information that I'm going to be presenting here, yeah, they are part of 3 different initiatives that we have as fields of research. The first one is about language and translation of political texts. The second one is the research that we do together with Rural University of Rio de Janeiro in our LabCon, and also regarding the comparative manifesto project, yeah, that analyzes political programs. So what it means that we have spent a lot of time analyzing what Bolsonaro says and what Bolsonaro does, yeah. And also there is another third line of research about elected women. Yeah, this is a very new research that I am developing with a group, also with other researchers, and we are analyzing the woman representatives in the Congress here of the last election, 2018. Okay, so let's begin. Yeah, to begin analyzing Brazil, we have to think about universal suffrage. I think that this, together with the question of slavery, yeah, and the colonial past, allows us to understand better what happens today. So when we think about Brazil, we have to think that we just have universal elections, yeah, like everybody allowed to vote since 1988 Constitution. Yeah, it means that we have 30 years of elections, yeah, until we elected, yeah, the now going president. Yeah, so just also because I have a lot, I saw some students, yeah, past students that are now back in their country. So I also thank them for being here. And just to think about Brazil, Brazil is a very big country, as you know, 26 independent states. Yeah, we have 3 dimensions. So we have federal, state, and municipal entities, and we have in each of them executive, legislative, and judiciary powers. So we have elections, but as we divide elections in municipal elections, city elections, yeah, and state and presidential elections, it means that each 2 years, yeah, the Brazilians has to vote. The vote is mandatory. Yeah, what it means that everybody should vote. Of course, that there is a debate here, but the question is, we were not allowed to vote many parts. For example, women. For example, if you don't know how to read or how to write, were not able to vote. Yeah, or even considering the more common when we think about other countries, that was the question of income. Yeah, but here in Brazil, it's not, we used to say it's not just a class question. Yeah, it has a lot of other parallel situations, yeah, that provides distance or privilege when we look at political rights and other rights. So we have also, considering the judiciary, we don't elect judges. Yeah, so this is another question that we are debating also, yeah, because of the questions now with the Supreme Court, yeah, but nowadays, yeah, we have political nominations and also exams, yeah, when we consider the Brazilian judiciary. So this is Brazil. Yeah, so you can think about, for example, if we think about political representation, that we have a chamber for each of our 5,000 and a little bit more cities. Yeah, and then we have the 26 states in the different regions. Yeah, so you can here see the map. Yeah, and according to our electoral court, yeah, because Brazil has an electoral court, we had 15.9 million voters in 2018. Yeah, that was the election that where Bolsonaro was elected. And this was undoubtedly the most divided election, yeah, that was very different from the past, because in the past we always had, since the Constitution, PT and PSDB running, yeah, as the major parties, yeah, and then they allied sometimes with PMDB, sometimes with others to elect the president. So as I will not be able to talk about everything with you, of course, I separated 4 different questions that in our researches we think that are relevant to understand the moment Bolsonaro that we are living now. Yeah, the first one is misinformation. I think that probably Tuasu will talk a lot about this, yeah, and the media, I don't know, but I imagine. But the situation of misinformation as a political strategy, yeah, considering the Bolsonaro family, is something that is related to fake news. Yeah, and now we are having an inquiry in the Supreme Court about it, and Moro also, yeah, was part of this process. We are going to talk about it also. And this is something that connects the network of Bolsonaro with his brothers, yeah, with his, I'm sorry, yeah, with his sons. So incredibly now, I don't know if you know or heard, but Bolsonaro now, he doesn't have a party. Yeah, so he was elected by PSL, but then he broke with the party, so now he doesn't have the an official party. And when we observe, each of his sons has a different party. Yeah, is part of different party, and this situation of misinformation, yeah, it connects with the 3 other questions that that together allows us to take a better look in the conditions that elected Bolsonaro. So the first one, I will talk about it. The first one, yeah, is misinformation. The second is the economy. So Bolsonaro had this plan, yeah, with Paulo Guedes, very together. Yeah, Paulo Guedes is the Minister of Economy. But the question is privatization, yeah, diminishing the state, but also thinking about politics in a way that economy prevails, but also to develop economy not thinking about ecology, not thinking about a sustainable plan, yeah, to allowing also the agribusiness to use very products, yeah, that make people unhealthy. So all this situation of developing economy is a situation that involves misinformation. For example, when Bolsonaro says that we don't have to respect to stay at home, we have to work. Yeah, so when we think about the ways he develops his idea of economy, this idea of economy also not only in the campaign, but after the campaign, yeah, this idea of how he proposes measures for economy, yeah, is all the time with counter information, okay? Against the third topic, corruption, yeah, was a very important issue together with Operation Lava Jato, and has Moro, yeah, in this process. Moro, as you know, now left the government. Yeah, Moro was the first one to left, and not first because before of him, Mandetta, that was the health minister, was out also. So, and then the question of corruption also involves a lot of misinformation. Yeah, so we can think about the procedures that involved the denounces against Lula, the prison of Lula, yeah, and all the regrets that Moro after, yeah, in the more recent days has done about it. And the third question, but not less important, is exactly the cultural values. So I will not have so long time, so I will try to hurry a little bit. So since last March, yeah, there is this question: does Bolsonaro deserves to be in jail? Yeah, well, what the analysts say: he interfered in federal police, yeah, according to a meeting announced by Moro. He, secondly, tried a self-cup, yeah, the so-called autogolpe, because he said that he was going to interfere and send troops to the Supreme Court, and then, yeah, the generals didn't allow him to do it, but he tried. And thirdly, he said he also fired 2 ministers of health, yeah, and left in their place Eduardo Pazuello, that is a general, but not a doctor, okay? So I would have more things to show you, yeah, about the coalitions, but I will left, because I know there was a question about coalitions that we received, yeah, but I will left it for us to study later. But the question is, we have a strong fragmentation of the parties that we can analyze during the years. And the fact is that this fragmentation is much more among the right-wing parties here in Brazil. So that's it. I don't want to surpass my time, but I had other things also to show you, but okay, it's what we have for the time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Alessandra. Very nice talking. As you all imagine, or as you all can imagine, a lot of things that Alessandra has talked about are very related to media in Brazil. And that's my subject, that's my research subject. And try to do some fast presentation here. Just one moment. Okay, challenge to Brazilian democracy, media and politics and populism. Okay, first a little bit of personal advertisement. This is my website. Sorry for that. ituaçu.com.br. You can sign a newsletter. I have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all these things. And I'm sharing all the time materials about media and politics in Brazil. So those interested will be welcome to visit my website and sign in my newsletter. We'll be very happy to have you there. Okay, I will go through some. I've planned this presentation in 3 steps, so I try to do it a little bit fast because of the time. But anyway, Ricardo, please tell me if I'm getting too long with it. But I'll try to follow these steps. The first step, I will go through some theoretical concepts that I will be using here. Pre-modern political communication, modern political communication, postmodern political communication is Pipanori's definitions, which I like very much. Pipanor is a Harvard professor of political communication. We have also a concept of hypermediatization of politics, which I work in a way that I call it expanded hypermediatization of politics. And so we go through very fast on this, and then we go to how these concepts refer to the Brazilian political context nowadays, especially during electoral campaigns. And then I will try to debate how these new media and digital media affects Brazilian democracy today. Okay, so how digital media is affecting Brazilian democracy today, which is pretty much my main object of research nowadays. Okay, so as I said, this is a theoretical framework that comes from Pipanor, from Harvard. We have this pre-modern political communication, which refers to personal contact, rallies, door-to-door, partisan mobilization, strategic decentralization, etc., etc. I'm going very fast with this.
Cool.
Yes?
Sorry for interrupting you, but when you're showing your screen, it's in the special mode where you can see your screen, the next screen, and also your notes.
Oh, okay, so I'm not. So you're not seeing the main slide.
The main slide is too small. If you can, I don't know.
Okay, no problem, no problem. I will change here. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just have to turn off my AirPlay here. Okay. So, okay. So we are going here. And then here. Is it better?
It's perfect now. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I lost my notes. I have to do it on my head now. It will be challenging, but no problem. So, okay, I'm talking about pre-modern political communication, which is that thing is door-to-door communication, political communication, rallies, and things like that. So we have this modern political communication, which I find a very adequate concept for the development of broadcasting in Brazil, especially TV and the relationship we have. And this is the relationship of media and politics, broadcasting and politics, broadcasting and democracy. This is all the framework of modern political communication. And then we have this postmodern political communication, which is, you know, a way to integrate a more complex media system. Also try to work with permanent campaign and new improvements because in modern political communication, you have this development of professionalization of politics, and then you have the surveys, you have the marketeers and things like that. So in postmodern political communication, this is all integrated to government and permanent campaign, and also in a more complex media system environment. So this is very interesting, comes from Philip Howard from Oxford, hypermediatization of politics, which is a term that refers to data, the use of data in politics, the use of digital media, automated propaganda, computer propaganda, and all these things that we have now from new technologies working on politics. This is very interesting. And so, but Philip Howard, he gave a lot of emphasis to fake news and misinformation. So he's talking about automated practices to disseminate misinformation. But anyway, you can do it for disinformation and also for information, in fact, and for proper political communication from the campaigns. And also, Philip Howard does not account on permanent campaign. He's not talking about permanent campaign. So I try to mix postmodern political communication with hypermediatization of politics to think in a way that I have called expanded hypermediatization of politics. When you have automated propaganda, computer propaganda, bots, fake news, and also permanent campaign, and also information and disinformation. So, and misinformation, sorry. So we have this all mixed. So these are the concepts that I will be working with. So we have this postmodern hypermediated political communication in Brazil. This is a pretty new situation. It's a pretty new situation. We could not imagine one day that a candidate with no TV time, and we have this timeshare for candidates on TV to spread the word and show your campaign. So usually what we thought in modern political communications that when you have more TV time, and you do this by doing alliances, political alliance, the chances for you to win the election is very high. So there was no way that we could thought that a candidate with no time TV, practically no time TV like Bolsonaro, could win an election. There was a time and there was a moment in the election that we think that either we have Geraldo Alckmin from PSDB polarizing with PT, or we would have Bolsonaro's polarizing with PT, the Workers' Party. And then Alckmin with a lot of TV time, what we call a farm of time on TV, and Bolsonaro no time on TV, focusing especially on digital media, WhatsApp, Facebook already established there in the social media, also Twitter, YouTube, and things like that. So we have this change. This is pretty much a change in what we think about elections, political communication in Brazil. But this is not new. We had reports identifying bots in 2014 in the election, especially in favor of the PSDB candidate, Aécio Neves. We have a report saying, more than one report saying that the automated infrastructure that the PSDB used in 2014 in favor of Aécio Neves started to work for the impeachment once Dilma Rousseff was elected. We have two reports saying that. So this is not new in 2018, but the proportion of the 2018 election is something that we had never seen before. We had fake news and disinformation also in 2014. For example, a survey in some protests in São Paulo saying that almost between 40 and 50% of the protests saying that PT would like to establish a communist regime in Brazil. We had also the news that foreign Haitian people from Haiti people came in 2014 to vote for Dilma in the election, bought by the Workers' Party. And so we have already had a lot of misinformation in 2014, 2015, 2016, running in the Brazilian public sphere. In 2018, as I said, the proportion was huge, like a very different proportion from 2014, especially concerning Jair Bolsonaro. I don't have the number here because I lost my notes, but I have the number to tell you afterwards. but it's something like 70% of the automated accounts in Twitter during the election were in favor to Jair Bolsonaro. We have this number from one report. And so, especially on Twitter, we are seeing this every day. And I was talking also to Ricardo that we are receiving reports that the same thing is happening in Venezuela, that in Venezuela, the government, here also the government is trying to manipulate trending topics on Twitter to put things that, or that to get out of things that are negative to the government, or to put on trending topics things that could be positive to the government. This is a kind of digital infrastructure. We have justice now investigating this because the use of public resources and illegal financement for the establishment of a digital infrastructure to run political communication in favor of government or candidates. So this is a very huge investigation. Also, this investigation is at the Supreme Court with Minister Alexandre de Moraes. So I would not say that they have an illegal infrastructure. I don't want them to be sued, but they are being investigated on this. Also, we had something like enormous spread of fake news and disinformation through the WhatsApp during the election. This was something very huge. WhatsApp is very popular in Brazil, especially the audio WhatsApp. So we had a tremendous amount of fake news and disinformation being shared during the elections in favor to Jair Bolsonaro. There were these groups, more than 100 groups of WhatsApp in favor, were constructed in favor of Jair Bolsonaro. And so we have a kind of mixture of professional thing and with a digital infrastructure plus militants, plus supporters of Jair Bolsonaro who voluntarily shared fake news and misinformation to your family, to your friends, and all this. This was a huge thing in this 2018 election. WhatsApp actually is today under a lot of pressure from the Brazilian justice, and because of that, and trying to also, they have already put some restriction on sharing messages. So this was a huge thing in 2018, especially against PT, especially against the Workers' Party. Actually, we have received in my lab here at the university, we have received some call from the Workers' Party campaign during the first and second round of the election, asking for help concerning the fake news, but it was very, very late. It was almost 4 or 5 days before the election, the second round of the election. So it was very, very late. What made us think that the Workers' Party got into this election completely unprepared for defending itself against fake news and misinformation in the campaign. The Facebook strategy was not at all what Donald Trump did in 2016. Facebook was the main thing about the Trump campaign in 2016 concerning political communication, at least, with Brad Parscale at the head of the team, which is now sacked from the campaign. But anyway, the Facebook was not here as it was in 2016 Donald Trump's election. However, we have been monitoring Jair Bolsonaro in Facebook for the last 5-6 years, and more than that for the last 10 years, almost and we have seen he's growing a lot. He's strengthening a lot his position since 2014, maybe before, with interaction levels much higher than any other politician in Brazil. Jair Bolsonaro, when he reaches 2018 election, he's already the top influencer, let me say like that, and a political top influencer in Facebook. So he was already established in Facebook when he reached 2018 election. So we had a strategy for WhatsApp and the established position on Facebook at the same time at 2018, with the opponent completely unprepared for that. But concerning WhatsApp, there is this investigation going on about illegal massive sending, which is forbidden in Brazilian election, and actually also the illegal financement of these digital infrastructures by supposedly by some Brazilian businessmen, anti-petistas, anti-workers party. So who were also illegally financing, probably, okay, this is injustice, illegally financing a digital infrastructure for Bolsonaro in 2018. And then we had the stab, which, you know, like you have a very good strategy for WhatsApp, and you have a established position, a very strong position on Facebook and Twitter also. And then you had the stab. So the stab gave Jair Bolsonaro a huge covering from broadcasting, TV, and as a victim of a political, which was not, in fact, it's just some crazy guy, but anyway, a political attack, physical attack. And then he could run away from all the debates of the second round, allegedly his health position, his health condition. And then, so there was no, the possibility of a negative performance on debates, which was very much expected from Bolsonaro, especially concerning his adversary, which was a political scientist from the University of São Paulo. We couldn't have the chance to see that. We couldn't have the chance to see that because allegedly have the problems in his health conditions, he has just ran away from all the debates in the end of the campaign. So this idea of a modern political communication, postmodern, hyper-mediated political communication acting together in this election, okay? This is something that we pretty much like to emphasize, because sometimes people think of the digital media as a substitute in relation to broadcasting, TV, or things like that. Modern political communication, postmodern political communication are not substitute concepts. They are complementary concepts today. And then we have in this election, we had modern political communication working together with postmodern hyper-mediated political communication. So how expanded hyper-mediated political communication may affect democracy in Brazil? From the tyranny of the majority to the tyranny of fabricated minorities. What we are also observing is that usually what we had at the modern political communication period is that we had this candidate with posters who were doing surveys and giving information to this political candidate, and the political candidate had the chance to adapt himself to the majority of thinking, or majority of desires, or majority of concerns. So he was always trying to do with the majorities. Not by chance we had in this period a huge movement to increase representation from minorities, from the minorities in all over democracies. So this modern framework was very effective, and it was working with the majority, also working with the majority with surveys and polls. What we have now is a little bit different. And this can be something that may ask us if a digital elected government will in fact government for all, which is something that we are debating here in Brazil. And also I do think that they are debating that in the United States too, because what we have now is the majority does not concern the politician anymore. Not all politicians, of course, but you can have a politician that is not concerned with the majority. He's just concerned to reunite as many as possible minorities in the day of the election. So he's working with specific groups, with a specific political communication directed to these specific groups. And actually, in some way, you can say that he's governing for the specific groups also. So this is a huge transformation of public opinion in the political communication field, and actually concerning elections and political communication per se. The possibility of direct communication to constitute minorities, that I politician will try to reunite in the day of the election. Also, we have this Professor Jean Werner Miller from Princeton, who is a colleague of us. He's doing a work saying that digital media is creating a kind of narrow-mindedness for citizen participation in politics. And the idea that the logic of digital media is not in favor of the contradictory. And then in the contradictory is essential to the development and the democratic dynamics. So this is something that we are trying to observe here in Brazil also. And we have also this discussion concerning populist political communication, which we can try to also debate with Alessandra. In a way, there are some concerns that social media can favor populist political communication. First of all, of course, because social media gives the possibility for the populist to communicate directly with his electorate without the filters of the media, of journalism, and things like that. This is obvious. You can talk directly with your constituency, with the citizen, and then you can say things that, of course, if you go through the filters of media and journalism, they will not publish. They will not publish, at least before what we have now. So this is one thing. And also we have another thing which is very interesting that we are trying to monitor too, which is the idea that social media reunites interests that are not together, they are spread. And then you can put together common interests, and then you can work with direct political communication with this common interest, and then you constitute a minority that will support you in the day of the election. This is these 3 or 4 things that we are observing here in Brazil, the developments of these things concerning digital media and democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arthur. It was a good presentation. So, Alessandra, would like to comment on Arthur's presentation now.
Okay, so Arthur, what I would like to ask you is about how do you think that fake news will affect Brazilian elections this year after the experience we had in 2018? And this year we have city elections, so what do you think is going to happen? Do you have we are going to have fake news again, WhatsApp again? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, thank you very much, Alessandra, for this very nice question. Uh, One thing we have to consider is that the city election has much lesser money than the federal election. The candidates do not have the resources that a federal candidate has. And so it's very difficult for actually political resources also, political capital also, to negotiate with businessmen and things like that to finance your campaign or something like that. So it's very difficult for city candidates to establish an infrastructure as we have seen in 2018 election concerning, especially concerning WhatsApp. So this is one thing. The other thing is that I do think that we will never see again what happened in 2018, in a way that the WhatsApp is no longer the same as it was in 2018. There are a lot of pressure in the WhatsApp. We have the Supreme Court going after these things. We have a discussion at the parliament. We have the media more prepared, and actually we have the other parties more prepared also. So I do think that we will never see again what happened in 2018, especially this kind of distance between digital political communication, concerning digital political communication, this kind of distance between the candidates. So, but anyway, we will have fake news. It's very difficult to control the WhatsApp, very, very difficult, and some kind of fake news we will have. The thing about fake news or misinformation for me is, in particular, my particular view is that we have to put costs on those who spread massively fake news and misinformation. You don't want your aunt that shared with you a fake news to be arrested. You don't want that. Your aunt or your uncle or your grandmother or things like that. You don't want them to be arrested because they are sharing fake news. But you do want people who are spreading massively fake news through a digital infrastructure to be arrested and persecuted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Would you care to comment on Alessandra's then?
Oh, yes. I would be very interesting to hear Alessandra about what she thinks, how she thinks the American election could affect the Brazilian current political context.
Okay, so this is also a tricky question, yeah, to answer, because it is curious if we think that from it's not something new, but sometimes the nationalism here in Brazil is to be nationalist is to support US. Yeah, so this is a very strange thing that we can think about. Yeah, especially to understand it, we have to think about colonization. We have to think about the time of dictatorship. Yeah, we have to think about Cold War. So I think that it would be very good if Trump is not elected, because Trump reinforces Bolsonaro. Yeah, so this is something, yeah, that is clear. Yeah, the way he refers to US, the way he tried to nominate his son for the embassy. Yeah, the last thing was that the person responsible for this inquiry about leftist people in Brazil gave to the embassy of US private information about people here in Brazil and did not give it to the Supreme Court. So I think that we have a lot of examples, yeah, and this has a long history in the country that we can think about. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you. Okay, so after those two comments, we're gonna move on to questions we've got from our audience. So the first one is actually, as I can see, is for Alessandra probably, is who controls Congress and how the government and opposition are represented in Brazil?
Okay, this is a very nice question. Yeah, I didn't have time because I prepared even some graphics that shows that in the Congress, people that every time votes for Bolsonaro is about 20% of the Congress. Yeah, so Bolsonaro broke even with his own party. So what he has been doing, he negotiates all the time with the so-called Centrão. Yeah, Centrão is something that we have also, yeah, from MDB in the past, that now is MDB again, from Arena Party, yeah, in the time of the dictatorship. So the main situation is he is negotiating, yeah. So those groups in the Congress, yeah, they are keeping Bolsonaro because Rodrigo Maia, that is the president elected for this legislation, he doesn't accept the impeachment proposals. Yeah, there are many impeachment. I think that's more than 13 processes, yeah, demanding it. So there is this situation, and this is pork, yeah, he is doing it all the time. He all the time said that he was not going to do that, he was different, but in fact and in practice, and this has everything to do with the misinformation process, he is doing exactly the old politics that we have seen from a long time here in Brazil.
Okay, thank you, Alessandra. So another question we have is, consider that Brazil has a great number of what we call functional illiteracy, and many surveys showing how wide and how deeply Bolsonaro's target public believes in these social medias like WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter. How can the real news or true news reach out to the people who just believe in everything they read?
Okay, this is for me also, yes. So I was thinking about, because I don't like to how can I say, to consider the illiterate as the main problem, like in the election of Bolsonaro. I think that Bolsonaro is only in power because of the elites in the Congress now. I think that there are economic groups that support Bolsonaro, that gave a lot of money to these WhatsApp friends that Ituaçu mentioned. So when we look, even those groups that received these 600 reais, that's not a huge amount. Yeah, it's difficult to survive with this aid. Even among those people, not everybody consider that Bolsonaro is doing a good government. So I think that the problem that that we should pay attention is how much he increased payments for the military. Yeah, because he's doing it all the time. He's spending a lot of money. Yeah, that is why we had this week 3 people from the team of Paulo Guedes are out of his team, and many people are saying that Paulo Guedes is no longer going to be inside the government. So I think that if we remember those 4 topics that I mentioned, misinformation, Lava Jato, the cultural values, and the situation of fake news. We had Lava Jato completely out of scene because Moro is no longer at the government. Paulo Guedes is falling. The fake news is in Supreme Court. So I think that the values of important elite groups even are sustaining Bolsonaro still. That's it.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Alessandra. Oh,
Can
yes,
I-
if you want to comment as well, please go ahead.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo. Yeah. First of all, I would say that Alessandro is pretty much right for me because it was not the poor people who elected Bolsonaro. And actually, what we have now, and we are monitoring also this could be changing because of the help, the financial help that the government is giving to poor people during the pandemic, which were not their idea, actually, were not their idea, but they, you know, in a way they absorbed it as it was from them. What, in a way, we had a lot of rich and literate people voting for Bolsonaro in 2018. But actually, the question do pose a problem that we are debating a lot concerning journalism in Brazil nowadays because of the firewalls. So we don't have a lot of people in Brazil nowadays who is, you know, they don't want to pay for news. They don't want to pay for news. It's completely different. For example, if you see the situation in Northern Europe or North America, here in Brazil, we have a lot of people that don't want to pay for news. So if they don't want to pay for news, what they actually have is TV. What they actually have is TV. Apart from the mobile, what they have is TV, and the TV. We are also seeing a change because we usually have global TV and Jornal Nacional, which is the main TV news, in a very strong position concerning politics and government in Brazil. And nowadays, what the Bolsonaro government is doing, they are giving more money, a lot more money, to other TV stations like SBT and Record, which some of them are linked to religious figures and churches. And the government is giving money, a lot of money to them for them to strengthen their position in the media landscape in Brazil. And they are supporting Bolsonaro's government, and they are now competing with global in terms of the main source of political information, especially in the poor people, within the poor people. So there is a change here. And actually, the discussion about journalism, you cannot do good journalism without money. You need money to give to offer a good journalism, but people are not. People do not want to pay for news in Brazil. So Houston, we have a problem. Anyway, we are trying to. This is a discussion with no solution and a lot of debates going on.
Okay, thank you, Artur. We have another question here that says, will the Brazilians use brain and think about issues and economic well-being or emotions and age-old target like the US imperialism when they elect their leader in the future? And will the Twitter or Facebook or WhatsApp influence the opinion of common people in this matter?
Alessandro, I actually did not understand very well the question, Ricardo. The first part, mainly.
So again, will the Brazilians use their brain and think about issues and economics, economy, well-being, or emotions and age-old target like the U.S. imperialism when they elect their leader in the future?
You or me?
I don't know if I understood the question, but anyway, there is one thing that is very interesting for me for years, for decades, is that that it concerns the offer of public benefits to the Brazilian people. Actually, this is a problem. When you talk about issues, for example, if you talk about education or health, or if you talk about transport, sewage, or if you talk about security, public security concerning violence and crime, all these kind of public stuffs, we do very bad on all of them. And there is something about, in my view, there is something about the notion of public and the notion of a political community in Brazil that we could not have yet established. And actually, we have problems offering this kind of benefits. We have problems debating, actually, this kind of issues. Actually, for example, I debate a lot the issue of corruption. There is now a major issue of the Brazilian public sphere, because the issue of corruption, you do not solve corruption, you do not solve the problem. Actually, the consequences usually are very bad for Brazilian politics afterwards. We have experienced that before with Fernando Collor and actually with Jânio Quadros before him. And actually, we don't debate other issues that maybe are more important, because there is no guarantee that the money collected in corruption operations, anti-corruption operations, we go to the ones that need it. So anyway, we have some political cultural problems dealing with this matter that you raised in this question, in my way.
Okay, so we actually are coming to an end because we are short of time. One last question to Alessandra. Alessandra, do you think that the institutions will resist in the effort to curtail the anti-democratic practice we have been seeing lately?
Okay, this question of Angela, thanks Angela. It's a very good question, because I think that our political elites and parts of our society, they are playing a dangerous game. Yeah, I think that Bolsonaro is on a going on process of destroying our institutions. Think about Ibama and the situation in Amazonia. Yeah, I had a video. There is this site in the web that you can see the globe by the satellite, and you see the enormous destruction in Amazonia. And then Bolsonaro said this week that he is in favor of sustainable development. Yeah, so what he says and what he does, in fact, does not match. These things don't match. Yeah, and this is the point. Yeah, Bolsonaro, for example, people before Ituaçu was saying people have to work, but then he says unpractical things like everybody knows that it's dangerous to get out in a pandemic. So he says get out besides of knowing this danger, and this is criminal. Yeah, this is a crime. This is something that he must be responsible for. Yeah, and he goes on now saying that the problem is with the governors. So again, yeah, we have to, this process is and I would like even to heard Ituaçu, because there was this, when we think, for example, of Cambridge Analytica, yeah, it was a process of a company that used it to be in Cold War. Yeah, something about a war, something about counter information, something about saying things in order to make confusion and to improve power amid confusion. So I think that Bolsonaro is trained in this kind of situation. I don't think that he's just someone that is an idiot. yeah, I think that those measures, they he thinks about it.
Okay. Thank you, Alessandra. So I'm afraid we got short of time. We actually already passed the time we scheduled for this. And we would like to thank you, Alessandra, to thank you, Atu, for being participating with us, to bringing so many interesting ideas, so much to think about Brazilian democracy and the challenges we face, how the media plays such an important role in all of this. So it was very inspiring, and you brought for us a lot of food for thought. Thank you very much. We would also like to thank all the participants that stayed with us, that participating, sending questions. We would like to also apologize for not being able to have all the questions asked, but we will try to send them to the professor so that they can try to answer them to you lately. And we would also like to thank everybody that was involved in this project of Brazilian debates. Angela Paiva, our director at the international office, who has come with this brilliant idea and put this all together. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the help that we had from the support from the CCCI team that helped us in several different ways. And to say a few last words, we would like to invite Dr. Angela Paiva to say goodbye to the first edition of Brazilian Debates.
Well, that was a wonderful debate. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Alessandra. It was very good to wrap up a series of 4 very interesting topics being discussed by professors from PUC. They were all very good. They were so good that we're thinking of having other debates. Okay, so maybe in the near future we will have at least once a month. Let's try to have the not to just to wait until next July when we're having again our in-presence Brazilian seminars on campus, right? Hopefully we will have a shot up to the by then, and I'd like to thank Ricardo and Daniel for organizing this series of debates. It was very good. I can see here that Ana Paula, who was at the first one, Ricardo Esteves. So it was really very, very nice to have this kind of activity organized by CCCI. So on behalf of our office, our international office, I'd like to thank you all for your participation, and just wait and we will let you know when we have another one. Okay, thank you very much.
So just before we finish, we would like to share you, as Angela just said, we are going to have next year the Brazilian seminars, hopefully in campus. It was planned for this July, but unfortunately because of the pandemics, we could not have it. So it's planned for July 2021. Please save the date. We would like you all to come and take part in the lectures and the visit and the cultural visits and the activities we've planned for the people who are with us to learn more about Brazil, but also to taste a real Brazilian experience while they're here. So have in mind that next July, we're gonna have Brazilian seminars, which the broader perspective of the Brazilian debates. You're gonna have much more knowledge that we just seen now, and we would like to invite you all to take part with us. Thank you all the partners that have been with us. We've seen that several universities with whom we cooperate with were here with us today represented. So thank you all for being with us today as well. It was a great pleasure, a great honor to have you participating in our debates as well. And thank you for all the students, the ones that have been with us before, the ones they're thinking about applying. Was great to have you all as well with us. Okay, so just to finish, we're gonna show you again a short video about our campus. in Gávea here in Rio de Janeiro, so that you can have a taste of what you encounter when you come and have Brazilian seminars with us. Just a second. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.